Good morning, ladies. How are you this morning? We are in Tarpon Springs, Florida for Fall Frenzy. Looking forward to what God has for us here. It's one of my favorite times of the year. I love being with the Wileys at Bible Baptist Church and then seeing all the friendly faces that we've been getting to know for the past several years. It's just a good time of being in the Word with other women and fellowship and laughing and shopping and eating and all of those fun things. And if your church doesn't have something like that, maybe ask your pastor's wife. There's probably something you guys can find in your area. It will be an encouraging time to you. This morning we're going to be in Genesis chapter 20 and 21. So have your Bibles turned there. And before we begin, we're going to, of course, ask the Lord to open thou mine eyes that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. Psalm 119, verse 18. And let's begin Genesis chapter 20. And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah his wife, She is my sister. Oh no, not again. This sounds like something we've heard before. And Abimelech king of Gerar sent and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife. And again, God had to get involved because of Abraham's ways. But Abimelech had not come near her. He hadn't touched her or did anything inappropriate. And he said, Lord, wilt thou slay also a righteous nation? Said he not unto me, She is my sister, and she herself said, He is my brother. They both said it. They were both in on the deal there. And of course, she was probably just obeying her husband, but still, she said the same. In the integrity of my heart and the innocency of my hands have I done this. And God said unto him in a dream, Yea, I know that thou didst in the integrity of thy heart. For I also withheld thee from sinning against me. Therefore suffered I thee not to touch her. God knew, and he protected her, and he talked to Abimelech, and even before God again spared Sarah, praise the Lord, she never was touched by anyone besides her husband. Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for thee, and thou shalt live. And if thou restore her not, know thou that thou shalt surely die, thou and all that are thine. Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid. Then Abimelech called Abraham and said unto him, What hast thou done unto us? And what have I offended thee, that thou hast brought on me and my kingdom a great sin? Thou hast done deeds unto me that ought not to be done. And Abimelech said to Abraham, What sawest thou that thou hast done this thing? And Abraham said, Because I thought, Surely the fear of God is not in this place, and they will slay me for my wife's sake. Again, he thought he knew better. And yet, indeed, she is my sister. She is the daughter of my father, but not the daughter of my mother, and she became my wife. And so now he's trying to say, well, it's kind of true. And trying to make it up for it. Instead of saying, yeah, I was wrong, I lied, he's saying, well, in a way, it's kind of true. And it came to pass, when God caused me to wander from my father's house, that I said unto her, This is thy kindness which thou shalt show unto me at every place whither we shall come. Say of me, He is my brother. So now he's saying, this is why she said it, because I asked her to do this for me, towards me, in kindness, to say that he is my brother. And Abimelech took sheep and oxen and men servants and women servants, and gave them unto Abraham, and restored him Sarah his wife. And Abimelech said, Behold, my land is before thee, dwell where it pleaseth thee. And unto Sarah he said, Behold, I have given thy brother 1,000 pieces of silver. Behold, he is to thee a covering of thy eyes, unto all that are with thee, and with all other. Thus she was reproved. So Abraham prayed unto God, and God healed Abimelech and his wife and his maidservants, and they bare children. For the Lord had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. So because of that Sarah being in that house, no one else could have children. But after this was, Abraham prayed over him, and he was healed. It was restored, and they were all having children again. So, chapter 21, as we continue on, and the Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken, because the Lord does what he says. For Sarah conceived and bare Abraham a son in his old age at the set time of which God had spoken to him. I love that part, because sometimes we think we have the set time, and boy, did they try and figure out the set time many times, understandably so, as they were getting older. But God had a set time for when Isaac was to come on the scene, and here we see it. In verse 3, and Abraham called the name of a son that was born unto him, whom Sarah bare to him, Isaac. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as God had commanded him. And Abraham was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. And Sarah said, God hath made me to laugh, so that all that hear will laugh with me. And she said, Who have said unto Abraham that Sarah would have given children suck? For I have borne him a son in his old age. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah, and so just in case you don't know, weaned is just basically she was nursing him, and he was old enough not to be nursed anymore. He now ate table food. So, and Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, which she had borne unto Abraham, mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. And the thing was very grievous in Abraham's sight because of his son. Because Abraham did love his son Ishmael. That's the son he had for all these times. And now his wife is mad because she has their son Isaac. And God says in verse 12, said unto Abraham, Let it not be grievous in thy sight because of the lad and because of thy bondswoman, and all that Sarah has said unto thee. Hearken unto her the voice, and Isaac shall thy seed be called. And also of the son of the bondwoman will I make a nation, because he is thy seed. And Abraham rose up early in the morning, and took bread and a bottle of water, and gave it unto Hagar, putting it on her shoulder, and the child, and sent her away. And she departed and wandered in the wilderness of Beersheba. Well, that doesn't seem very fair, does it? Well, let's see. Verse 15. And the water was spent in the bottle, and she cast the child under one of the shrubs. And she went and sat her down over against him a good way off, as it were a bow shot, for she said, Let me not see the death of the child. And she sat over against him, and lifted up her voice and wept. And who heard? Verse 17. And God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called to Hagar out of heaven, and said unto her, What aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. Arise, lift up the lad, and hold him in thine hand, for I will make him a great nation. Now, I don't think this is a good thing to say, because obviously the Bible is not compared to Lion King. But in this moment, can you see? She probably lifted up the child just like, when Simba's lifted up in the air. I mean, for those of you that watch Lion King, this is what I imagine happened, is that she lifts up her child, and God says, I will make him a great nation. Oh, that's so awesome. Maybe they got that idea from the word. Who knows? Well, verse 19. And God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water. She went and filled the bottle in water, and gave the lad to drink. So not only did she remind her that God was going to give a nation from her son, but he gave her water to drink. They had no water left. And then in verse 20, and God was with the lad, and he grew and dwelt in the wilderness, and became an archer. And he dwelt in the wilderness of Paran, and his mother took him a wife out of the land of Egypt. And it came to pass that time that Abimelech, and I'm going to call him Pickle, because I like that name, and I know it's Pickchol. I really have no idea how that's said, but I like Pickle. So, and Pickle, the chief captain of his host, spake unto Abraham, saying, God is with thee in all that thou doest. Now therefore swear unto me here by God that thou wilt not deal falsely with me, nor with my son, nor with my son's son, but according to the kindness that I have done unto thee, thou shalt do unto me, and to the land wherein thou hast sojourned. And Abraham said, I will swear. And Abraham reproved Abimelech because of the well of water which Abimelech's servants had violently taken away. In verse 26, and Abimelech said, I wot not who hath done this thing, neither didst thou tell me, neither yet I yet heard I of it, but today. And Abraham took sheep and oxen and gave them unto Abimelech, and both of them made a covenant. And Abraham set 7 ewe lambs of the flock by themselves. And Abimelech said unto Abraham, What mean these 7 ewe lambs which thou hast set by themselves? And he said, For these 7 ewe lambs shalt thou take of my hand, and that may be a witness unto me, that I have digged this well. Wherefore he called that place Beersheba, because they swear both of them. Thus they made a covenant at Beersheba, that Abimelech rose up and Pichol, the chief captain of his host, and they returned into the land of the Philistines. And we know about them. We'll talk about them later. Verse 33, And Abraham planted a grove in Beersheba, and called thereon the name of the Lord, the everlasting God. And Abraham sojourned in the Philistine land many days. Let's look at our questions in our book. Who was the king of Gerar? And that was King Abimelech. The man of faith falls and walks by sight. When he does, he is rebuked by a heathen king. It is still true that Christians will often be rebuked by the world when they do not trust the Lord. Even any of us, if we are not trusting the Lord can use the people in this world to remind us of what we're supposed to be doing. Hagar was what country? Egypt. She was from Egypt. And the country is a type of the world. Abraham having a child with her was a worldly solution to his problem and not having children. But Abraham's seed or descendants are going to come through whom? Sarah. That's where God said they were coming from. And remember, Sarah still didn't believe. And even when it was happening, she was laughing. So, let's continue on in Proverbs chapter 17 today. Proverbs chapter 17. Better is a dry morsel and a quietness therewith than a house full of sacrifices with strife. A wise servant shall have rule over a son that causes shame, and shall have part of the inheritance among the brethren. The finding pot is for silver, and the furnace for gold, but the Lord trieth the hearts. A wicked doer giveth heed to false lips, and a liar giveth ear to a naughty tongue. Whoso mocketh the poor reproacheth his maker, and he that is glad at calamities shall not be unpunished. Children's children are the crown of old men. Children's children, that's grandkids. And the glory of children are their fathers. Excellent speech becometh not a fool, much less do lying lips a prince. A gift is a precious stone in the eyes of him that hath it. Whithersoever it turneth, it prospereth. He that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth the matter separateth very friends. It's talking about when somebody goes through something and you cover it with love because you love them, that's a good thing. But if you go and tell everybody else about what they did, you separate friends that God gave you. Not a good thing. A reproof entereth into a wise man that had 100 stripes in a fool. An even man seeketh only rebellion. Therefore a cruel messenger shall be set against him. Let a bear robbed of her whelps meet a man rather than a fool in his folly. Whoso rewardeth evil for good, evil shall not depart from his house. The beginning of strife is as one letteth out water, therefore leaveth off contention before it be meddleth with. He that justifieth the wicked, and he that condemneth the just, even they both are an abomination to the Lord. Wherefore is there a price in the hand of a fool to get wisdom, seeing he hath no heart to it? A friend loveth at all times, and a brother is born for adversity. Now, if you have a brother, you know exactly what that means. I have 4. A man void of understanding striketh hands, and becomes surety in the presence of his friend. He loveth transgression that loveth strife, and he that exalteth his gate seeketh destruction. He that hath a forward heart findeth no good, and he that hath a perverse tongue falleth into mischief. He that begetteth a fool doeth it to his sorrow, and the father of a fool hath no joy. A merry heart doeth good like medicine. That means you can feel better from having a merry heart, laughing, being excited, and being encouraged. But a broken spirit drieth the bones. That's something to think about. If we can't laugh, or we're always just full of sadness, even our bones will hurt inside of us. A wicked man taketh a gift out of the bosom to pervert the ways of judgment. Wisdom is before him that hath understanding, but the eyes of a fool are in the ends of the earth. A foolish son is a grief to his father. It says that a lot. And a bitterness to her that bare him. Also to punish the just is not good, nor to strike princes for equity. He that hath knowledge beareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise. And he that shutteth his lips is esteemed a man of understanding. Know what that means? Let's listen more and talk less, right? Mm-hmm. That will keep us safe. So let's turn over to Psalm chapter 17. Psalm chapter 17. Every time I always want to go the other way. I don't know why, but the order is Proverbs to Psalms, and we're just going to go with that. But my first thought is to go the opposite way in my Bible. Well, that will not bring me to Psalms. Psalm chapter 17. Hear the right. This, by the way, again, is a prayer of David. Hear the right, O Lord, attend unto my cry, give ear unto my prayer, that goeth not out of feigned lips. Let my sentence come forth from thy presence, let thine eyes behold the things that are equal. Thou hast proved mine heart, thou hast visited me in the night, thou hast tried me, and shall find nothing. I am purposed that my mouth shall not transgress. Concerning the works of men, by the word of thy lips, I have kept me from thy paths of the destroyer. Hold up my goings in thy paths, that my footsteps slip not. I have called upon thee, for thou wilt hear me. O God, incline thine ear unto me, and hear my speech. Show thy marvelous loving kindness, O thou that savest by the right hand them which put their trust in thee from those that rise up against them. Keep me as the apple of the eye. Hide me under the shadow of thy wings. I love that. Keep me. I want to be the apple of the Lord's eye. And then to think that we can be under the shadow of his wings. That's where that song comes, under his wings. Every kind of song that comes from the Word of God is a good song. And it reminds us of who God is. So continuing on in verse 9, from the wicked that oppress me, from my deadly enemies who compass me about. They are enclosed in their own fat, with their mouth they speak proudly. They have now compassed us on our steps. They have set their eyes bowing down to the earth. Like as a lion that is greedy of his prey, and as it were young lion lurking in secret places. Arise, O Lord, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. From men which are thy hand, O Lord, from men of the world, which have their portion in this life, in whose belly thou fillest with thy hid treasure. They are full of children, and leave the rest of their substance to their babes. As for me, I will behold thy face in righteousness. I shall be satisfied, and when I awake with thy likeness. Ladies, you awoke with the likeness of Christ this morning. May you find yourself encouraged and continue to grow. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Have a blessed day.